Hi there, friends. It's Miss Tiffany from the Butler Area Public Library, and I am here with another week of Peg plus Cat Math Camp Monday. I'm so excited that you are joining me for another week at camp. This week, we're going to be talking all about shapes. And some of our educational goals for this week's camp are to be able to name some two-dimensional shapes and find examples of them in the world around us. But we're also going to try to name some three-dimensional shapes and find examples of those as well. So just like last week, there is a packet to go along with this week's camp. If you have a chance, you can pick it up at the library in the lobby. But if you don't get a chance to come into the library, that is okay, because I'm going to link a digital copy of the packet into the description of this video so you can access it from anywhere. We don't want any of our friends left out of the fun, right? So once you get your packet, the first thing you're going to see right on top, just like last time, is the caregiver letter. And this is just talking about what we're going to be learning about today. And then it's going to give us some more of those QR codes. Those are those little black and white patterned squares that we can scan with our phone that are going to direct us to some resources. And I would like to show them to you right now. So the first QR code is going to send us to a video that we can watch. This video is called The Ballad of Peg the Bold and Brave Sir Cat. And here is just a little preview.
My golden pyramids! Oh, I thought I'd never see them again.
She's really into those pyramids.
I know.
So that looks like an awesome video to help us learn a little bit more about some shapes. The second QR code is going to take you to a game that you can play called the Magical Shape Hunt. And in this game, Peg and Cat are going to help find some shapes.
Will you help me find my jewels that are shaped like this? This is a sphere. A sphere is a solid shape that looks like a ball, round, like this. Woohoo! Woohoo! Woohoo!
Oh!
So as you can see, that game also helped us work on identifying shapes. Now, Miss Tiffany told you that we were going to learn about two-dimensional shapes and three-dimensional shapes. And I would like to talk to you right now about what the difference is between the two. So a two-dimensional shape is one that is flat, like a flat piece of paper. It's not something you can necessarily get your hands around. You can practice two-dimensional shapes by just cutting them out of paper and learning to identify them. So friends, do you know what this shape is? That's a triangle. And when I say a shape is flat, it means it's just a thin piece of paper. It's not an actual triangle all the way around. All right, so this is a triangle and it has 1, 2, 3 points. Next, we have a square. And a square, how many points does the square have, friends? It has 1, 2, 3, 4. And the special thing about a square is that all the sides are the same length. Next, we have a rectangle. Now, a rectangle, like a square, has 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. But unlike a square, a rectangle's sides are not the same length. These two sides are short, and these two sides are long. Next, we have, can you say it, friends? A circle. And a circle doesn't have any corners. It just goes perfectly around. Finally, we have an oval. And like the circle, An oval doesn't have any corners either, but it's different from a circle in that it gets skinnier at the ends. See, it's not perfectly around. It gets skinnier at the ends. So we have triangle, square, rectangle, circle, and oval. Now, these aren't the only shapes there are, but these are the ones that I was going to practice with you today. Can you think of any other two-dimensional shapes besides the ones I just showed you? So we said that two-dimensional shapes are flat, like a piece of paper. But can you think of a two-dimensional circle you might find in the real world? Think of all of the shapes Miss Tiffany just taught you, and can you think in your mind where you might find those in the world around you? Next, we're going to talk about three-dimensional shapes. And a three-dimensional shape is one that has form all the way around. So it's not just flat like a piece of paper. It goes all the way around. So this two-dimensional shape is a circle, and it has a three-dimensional version, which is called a sphere or a globe. This is round all the way around. See, Miss Tiffany can put her hands around it. So can you think of any spheres you might see in the world around you? Maybe something like a basketball, right? That is round all the way around, and you can put your hands all the way around it. So this is the two-dimensional shape of a square. And its three-dimensional partner is a cube. And see that this cube, also like the square, the sides are the same length, but it goes all the way around. Miss Tiffany can put her hands all the way around it. So on the sides, on the top and bottom, and on the front and back. So that is a cube. This is actually Miss Tiffany's Storytime Song cube. Can you think of any other cubes you might see in the world around you? Maybe you might have some blocks that are cubes, right? So we talked about the rectangle. And remember, the rectangle has sides that are not the same length. These two sides on these ends are shorter than the top and the bottom. So here is an example of a three-dimensional rectangle. This is actually the box from one of our PBS Kids tablets. And you can see that these sides are not the same length as these sides, right? And it goes all the way around. Miss Tiffany can put her hands all the way around it because it is three-dimensional. Can you think of any three-dimensional rectangles in the world around you? Maybe you have a box of something that is a rectangle. The last pair that we are going to talk about in both 2D and 3D is this shape. So this two-dimensional shape is a triangle. And remember, we said it has 3 points on it. So there is also a three-dimensional version of that, and it is called a pyramid. And this is really, really small, but as you can see, this is something that I can feel all the way around because it is three-dimensional and it shows the triangle on each side. So this is a pyramid. Can you think of any pyramids that you might see in the world around you? Maybe you'll think of the giant pyramids in Egypt, right? So friends, those are the educational goals that we are working on this week in Math Camp. And the next thing you're going to find in your packet are some activities to help you work on those skills. The first activity you're going to see is called Parts of Peg. And this is working with the two-dimensional shapes that we first talked about. The circle, the oval, the square, the rectangle, and the triangle. So everything that you need for this activity is in the packet. It talks about the directions on how to do the activity together. So the second activity you will find in your packet is called I Spy Peg. And remember when Miss Tiffany asked you if you could think of any circles that you have seen in real life, or perhaps any cubes that you have seen in real life? Well, you're going to use those same skills for this activity. Using the peg that you create in your first activity, you are going to talk about what two-dimensional and three-dimensional shapes make up peg. The next thing you will find in the packet is another shape hunt. And this is a worksheet where you are going to color certain shapes with certain colors. So the squares will be red, the circles will be blue, the rectangles will be green, and the triangles will be yellow. Friends, Miss Tiffany loves talking about shapes so much that I couldn't just stop with those activities. You actually get a bonus packet this week because you get a chance to play Shapes Bingo. And there are all different activities that you can use in this packet to complete Shapes Bingo. So friends, I'm so glad you joined me for another week of Math Camp. Remember, we have packets available here at the library, but if you can't make it in, that's okay. I'm going to include a link in the description of the video where you can download not only the Peg Plus Cat packet, but also the Shapes Bingo packet. Peg Plus Cat Math Camp Monday is part of our Inquire Within partnership that we have developed with WQED Education and WQED Pittsburgh and is sponsored by the Center for Community Resources. And the best shape I can think of to talk about both of those organizations is a great big heart. Thank you so much for making this possible. And friends, thank you so much for joining me for another week of Math Camp. I'll see you next week.